Hi, this is Carol from Glass Art Diva. Today we're going to begin soldering our little bird. You'll notice that I have taped the bird's different pieces together as I have gone along and cut the pieces and then foiled them and put them together. Now I also use pins on my master pattern to hold it in place, but I don't put pins in here. I have a preference to use tape, but it's entirely your choice. If you want to keep your pieces together by pushing pins through it and holding it in that way, that's just fine. It's your preference. Mine is I just keep the pins on the outside to keep the bird in place, and then I tape everything else, especially on small sun catchers, because I like to begin soldering on the back of the bird. So I want to flip my bird, literally, and I want to first begin looking at the copper foil lines, and I want to make sure that I don't have any edges that are higher than the other or have not lain down flat. I want to make sure that the copper foil is in good shape. As I'm looking at this one, I see that right here on the top of the head where I've joined the two pieces of foil together, one piece is higher than the other. Now you're going to want to remove that little piece of foil right there and make it a nice smooth line, because the solder will only stick to the copper. So if your foil is sticking out a little bit higher here than your other line, you're going to have a little more solder in that area rather than a nice smooth line. You're going to have a line and then a hump type thing. So I want to remove that, and I just take my X-Acto knife and I just remove that little bit right there. The next thing I want to do is tack solder it. Now before I begin, I'm going to have to flux. Now the flux, whether you use, in this case, gel, or whether you use a paste, or whether you use the liquid, you'll always have to begin laying down a bit of flux on the copper foil. The moment you put copper foil or any copper out into the atmosphere, the oxygen begins to tarnish the copper foil. And what the flux does is it helps to remove the impurities that are laying on the copper and make it ready to accept the solder. So I'm going to begin, and I'm just going to use a little bit of the paste today. And at the different joins, I'm just going to lay a little bit of the flux down and begin soldering. Now, I'm using 6040. This is from Stellar. It's, I believe, Andrew Parsons is his company is selling this at a good rate. It's stellartechnical.com, and I'm very partial to this particular one. A lot of it because of the price. But I don't hold my solder in my hand when I am soldering, because this is a pound, and after a while it gets heavy. So what I do is I cut off what I need, and I'll begin to solder. Now the other thing to remember too is if solder is itself laying out in the open, it will begin to tarnish also. And if it's been sitting out in the open for a while and it's tarnished, just take a bit of steel wool and give it a little bit of a wipe, and you'll see how it's starting to shine up already. The shinier it is, the better it will flow. So I'm using my Hakko 601, FX 601, and my temperature is set to 410. And I will just go ahead and touch a bit of I put my soldering iron on top of the solder, heat it up, and let it just drop at the different places where I've put the foil. Or sorry, not the foil, but the flux, sorry. Like so. Doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be able to hold the pieces together. And I'll just pick it up and make sure I've got it all held together like so. Now I just want to flip it over quickly. I want to remove this tape. I want to remove it fairly quickly after I start soldering because the heat of the iron makes the adhesive on the tape a little bit more tacky, and sometimes it can be difficult to get off once it's heated up. Now, if you'll notice, I'm trying to pull in the direction that the foil is going. As an example, in this case, the foil is going this way, so my tape is laying this way. You do not want to lay your tape this way across your piece, because when you go to pull it up, like so, let me see if I can do it with this hand, you're going to be pulling on the foil, and you don't want to do that. You're going to lift your foil if you do that. So now I have my bird ready to solder completely, and I'll turn it back over and continue on working on the back. But as you can see, it's pretty solid. So that's basically how you would start, tacking it first in place so that nothing is going to move. And in my next video, I'll start soldering the back. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.